You're watching ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about before, there is a YouTuber, former, I don't want to say former, but he used to work for Marvel, but now he's kind of independent. His name's Ethan Van Sciver, and you've probably heard of a group called the Fandom Menace. Now, I'm not going to sit here and beat up the Fandom Menace because actually, to be quite honest, I don't necessarily disagree with everything they say. I'm the kind of person, I don't like politics in my movies if it's coming from the outside world. If there is a story originally written that is politically motivated within that world, within the context of the story, and it's not too heavy-handed, I like it. I'll watch it. With that said, and I want to make this very clear, he made a video today talking about how this was the episode that exposed the social justice warrior within The Mandalorian, and I have to wholeheartedly disagree. Not something I often do with Ethan Van Sciver or some of these other YouTubers that talk out against politics and entertainment. But this I have to disagree. Gina Carano is a trained MMA fighter. She could probably kick the poop out of most of us. Probably, definitely me, definitely Pedro Pascal, definitely Ethan Van Sciver. So while I like to be objective and as fair as possible. So if I see something blatantly being forced into an entertainment piece, whether it's a movie, whether it's a show that is political, I don't like it, simply because we all work hard. We all 5 days a week, we all watch the news, we all do that stuff. When we watch a movie or we play a video game or we watch a TV show, it's to get away from that stuff for a while. But fair is fair. And in order for that stuff to end, we have to praise when they do it right. This was done right. There is no SJW moment in this episode at all. Gina Carano is playing a former rebel shock trooper. She is a very, very well-built woman. She's very muscular. She's very broad, but she's also very gorgeous. And if you've seen Gina Carano fighting, or if you've seen her posing in fitness magazines, she is built very, very soundly. She can kick the crap out of most men. That's just a fact. There's no getting around that. So the idea that this is an SJW moment when she gets into a fight with the Mandalorian, I think is probably one of the worst takes Ethan Van Sciver's had since I've been watching him, and it's a big mistake on his part, because this is when you overextend, when everything you see is SJW and you can't dissect what is actually SJW motivated versus what's not, then you come off looking like someone who hates women. And that's where this problem is. Everybody overextends their political views. Sometimes it's okay to watch a show just to watch a show. We don't have to overextend our political views to try and make sense of it all. It's blatantly obvious what this part made sense. She is a former shock trooper. She knows how to kick ass. She is seasoned. She's a grizzled veteran of a fighter. And she had a very even toe-to-toe fight with the Mandalorian. Nothing unbelievable about that, especially coming from a woman with her background and considering that the story has quickly established her as a grizzled rebel veteran. I just want to point that out. I just wanted to make my criticism of that because I don't think it's fair. Everybody's enjoying the show right now on both ends. Even the other side. Sure, they might have complained that there were no women up to this point in the show, but I haven't seen anyone say anything bad about the show. And you want to know something? There's no reason to right now. It's a good show. It's a damn good show. So I think everyone on both sides, just leave your political chips at home. Watch the show. Enjoy it. That's what escapism is about. That's what entertainment is about. That is what I love about entertainment. It's a good moment to escape for a while, to get into another world, to envision what it might be like, to get lost in the story. And the better the story, the better the world is built, the better the lore, the more engaging it is, and the more it helps in getting out of the real world for a moment from these ridiculous things that we have to read on a constant basis or watch on a constant basis on the news. The Mandalorian so far has not been disappointing at all for me. And I'm not as big a Star Wars fan as others out there. I'm an old school trilogy guy, you know? Wasn't too fond of the sequel trilogy, although there's moments in it that I love. There's moments in the sequel trilogy that I think are historical. I've mentioned it many times before. If you're one of my listeners from the YouTube channel, you've heard me say this. If you're a new listener, you're learning about it now as you hear me on this podcast. There are some moments in the prequel trilogy that I think are very underappreciated and underrated. I mean, I remember getting goosebumps seeing Yoda grab a lightsaber for the first time. That epic showdown between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, which you could argue saved that first movie. But am I as a big Star Wars fan now as I used to be? No. But The Mandalorian has reignited that passion because I love the world they're building. We are seeing things we haven't seen before. We are learning about things we had an opportunity to learn about before. For example, Yoda's species. I'm sure we're going to learn more about that as the show progresses. I know it's probably not going to be something we're going to get all in one season. But the fact that it's there and it's being built is exciting for me.